I'm Ava Carter. I'm 31 years old. I design brand identities for startups in Austin, Texas. And 3 nights ago, at exactly 2:17 a.m., my phone lit up with a number I haven't seen in almost 2 decades. No name, just a number. But some numbers, they don't need names. They hit you like muscle memory, like your body remembers before your brain even catches up. I was half asleep, one hand still under the pillow, the other reaching for my phone, thinking it was probably a client in a different time zone or some random spam call. Then I saw the area code, Illinois. And just like that, I wasn't 31 anymore. I was 11, standing under fluorescent lights that hummed too loud, holding a paper cup of soda that had already gone flat, watching the entrance doors of a place that felt way too big for a kid who suddenly realized she'd been left behind on purpose. I didn't answer the call. I just stared at it ringing, letting it buzz against my palm like it was trying to wake something up I had buried deep. It stopped, then started again, then again, 6 times back to back. Whoever it was, they weren't calling by accident. And deep down, I already knew. Some stories don't end. They just go quiet for years, until one day they decide they're not done with you. I live in a small apartment now. Nothing fancy. Clean lines, warm lights, plants I somehow managed to keep alive. There's a dog. His name's Milo. Rescued him 3 years ago. He sleeps near the door like he's guarding something important. Maybe he is. Maybe he's guarding me. That night, Milo lifted his head when my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. He walked over, nudged my hand like, "Hey, you good?" I wasn't, but I told myself I was. Because that's what I've been doing since I was a kid. Convincing myself I'm okay, even when everything inside me is screaming otherwise. I finally opened the voicemail. I shouldn't have, but curiosity has a way of dragging you back to places you swore you'd never go again. The voice on the other end was older, rougher, like life had taken a few swings at it, but I knew it instantly. "Hey, Ava, it's me." Pause. Long enough to feel heavy. "It's your mom." That word, mom. It didn't land the way it's supposed to. It didn't feel warm. It didn't feel safe. It felt like a door slamming shut somewhere deep in my chest. She kept talking, said it had been a long time, said she didn't know if this number still worked, said she needed to talk to me. Needed, not wanted, not hoped, needed. That word told me everything. People like her don't reach out for connection. They reach out when they run out of options. I didn't listen to the rest. I couldn't, because my mind was already somewhere else. Somewhere loud, somewhere cold, somewhere I had spent years trying to forget. I grew up in a town that looked perfect from the outside. Tree-lined streets, clean sidewalks, the kind of place where neighbors wave at each other like they're in some kind of commercial for a life that doesn't actually exist. My parents fit right into that picture. My dad ran a hardware store. My mom volunteered at church events, baked cookies for fundraisers, smiled like she had nothing to hide. To everyone else, we were solid, stable, good people. That's what they called us. But inside our house, everything ran on control. Not love, not safety, control. My mom believed fear was a teaching tool. My dad, he thought it was funny, like raising a kid was some kind of twisted reality show. Every mistake I made turned into a lesson. That's what they called it. Lessons. If I spilled milk, I had to clean the entire kitchen. If I forgot homework, I wasn't allowed to sleep until it was redone perfectly. If I cried, that was the worst one. Crying meant I was weak, and weakness, that was something they said the world would punish, so they figured they'd beat the world to it. When I was 9, I got scared during a thunderstorm, ran into their room, asked if I could stay. My mom looked at my dad, and they both laughed. Actually laughed. Then my dad walked me outside, barefoot, in the rain, and said, "If you're going to be scared for real." Left me there for 10 minutes, lightning cracking overhead, rain hitting my skin so hard it stung. I learned something that night. Not the lesson they thought they were teaching. I learned that I was on my own. Always. By the time I turned 11, I had already mastered the art of disappearing. Not physically, emotionally. I stopped asking for things, stopped showing fear, stopped reacting, because reactions were entertainment for them. Silence? Silence was survival. The day everything broke for real didn't start like a nightmare. That's the thing. The worst days rarely do. They start normal, almost calm. Too calm. It was a Saturday. My mom said we were going into the city, Chicago. She even sounded nice. Made pancakes, asked if I wanted syrup or fruit. That should have been my first red flag. Kindness in that house always came with a cost. But I was a kid, and kids, they want to believe. So I believed. We drove into the city with the windows down, music playing, my dad tapping the steering wheel like he didn't have a care in the world. My mom kept turning around, asking me questions. "Do you think you're independent? Do you think you could survive on your own?" I gave careful answers. Neutral ones, because there was always a wrong answer, and you didn't always know what it was until it was too late. We parked near a busy transit station. Huge place. Crowded, loud, people moving in every direction like they actually knew where they were going. I stayed close. Too close, probably. My mom pointed to a bench near the entrance. "Sit right here. We're going to grab something real quick." I asked if I could come. My dad smirked. "You scared or something?" That word, scared, it was bait, so I shook my head. "No." "Good," he said. "Then sit." And they walked away. I watched them go. Told myself they'd be back in a few minutes. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Then 40. At first, I stayed exactly where they told me, because rules mattered, even then, especially then. But after an hour, something started to feel off. People came and went, the light outside shifted, the crowd changed, but they didn't come back. I stood up, sat down, walked a few steps, came back, over and over, like if I stayed in the exact spot, maybe they'd return. Like I was part of some invisible game I didn't understand the rules of. 2 hours in, the panic hit hard. My chest felt tight. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I had no phone, no plan, no idea how to get home. I was just a kid in a place that didn't know me and didn't care. Then I saw it. Through the glass doors. Our car. Slowly passing by. My heart jumped so fast it almost hurt. I ran toward the doors, waving, relief flooding my body like I'd been holding my breath for hours. They saw me. I know they did. My dad was driving. My mom turned her head, looked right at me, and smiled. Not a worm smile, not a "we found you" smile. It was different. Cold. Amused, like she was watching a scene play out exactly the way she expected. She rolled the window down, leaned out just enough, and shouted, "Let's see if you can make it home this time." And then she laughed. My dad laughed too, and just like that, they drove off. No hesitation, no second glance. Gone. That moment, that's when something inside me shut down. Not broke, not cracked, shut down, like a switch flipped. Because fear wasn't new, but this was something else. This was being erased. I stood there for a long time, long enough for someone to bump into me and mutter, "Watch it," long enough for the world to keep moving like nothing had happened. Because to everyone else, nothing had. But to me, everything had changed. I didn't cry right away. That came later. At first, I just moved. Back inside, through the noise, past strangers who didn't know they were walking past a kid whose entire life had just shifted. I didn't ask for help. I really did. But I didn't sleep the night before my flight. Not really. I just laid there, staring at the ceiling, feeling like my past had cracked open and was leaking into everything I had built. Alex kept asking if I was okay. I kept saying yeah. But the truth, my chest felt tight in that old familiar way, like I was 12 again, waiting by that pillar, hoping someone would come back. Only this time, I wasn't waiting. I was choosing to go back. That changes everything. The flight to Chicago felt shorter than it should have been, or maybe I just didn't feel time properly anymore. I kept replaying Hannah's voice in my head, the way she said, "They're not the same anymore," like that was supposed to mean something. People always say that. They've changed, they are different now. But some things don't change. Some things just get quieter. When I landed, the air hit different. Colder, heavier, like the city remembered me, even if I tried to forget it. I rented a car and drove out toward Willow Creek. Same roads, same exits, same gas stations with flickering signs. It felt like stepping into a version of my life that had been paused, just waiting for me to press play. I almost turned around twice. No dramatic reason, just instinct. But I kept driving, because this wasn't about them. This was about finishing something. The hospital wasn't big, nothing like the ones in Denver. Just a quiet building with dull lighting and that sterile smell that sticks to your clothes. I sat in the parking lot for a full 5 minutes before going in, hands on the steering wheel, breathing slow, telling myself, "You're not that girl anymore." And then I walked inside. Their room was at the end of a long hallway, room 214. I remember the number because I stood outside that door longer than I should have. Not scared, not exactly, just aware that whatever version of me walked in there wouldn't be the same one walking out. When I opened the door, everything got real. My father looked smaller than I remembered, not just older, smaller, like life had finally taken something out of him he couldn't fake his way around. And my mother, she still had that same presence, even in a hospital bed, even hooked up to machines. Her hair thinner, her skin pale, but her posture, still controlled, still composed, like she was performing strength even now. For a second, nobody spoke, just silence, heavy, thick silence. Then she said my name, my old name, Jennifer, and something in me snapped into place. Not anger, clarity. "Sophia," I said. Just once, calm, firm, like setting a boundary that had waited 20 years to exist. She nodded like it hurt. Maybe it did, but not in the way she wanted me to believe. Then the crying started. Not soft, not quiet, the kind that fills a room, the kind meant to pull you in. And for a second, just a second, I felt it. That old pull, that instinct to comfort, to fix, to make it okay. And then I remembered the train station and the sound of them laughing, and just like that, it was gone. "She didn't think you'd come," she said.
I didn't either, I replied. My father cleared his throat. We made mistakes, he said. There it was, that word, mistakes. I almost laughed, not because it was funny, because it was predictable. No, I said, and my voice didn't shake. Getting the wrong order at a restaurant is a mistake. Missing a deadline is a mistake. I looked directly at them. What you did was a choice. Silence. The kind that actually lands. You left a 12-year-old girl alone in a city she didn't know. You drove past her. You looked at her face and you laughed. My father tried to interrupt. I didn't let him. You don't get to rewrite that into something softer now because your life fell apart. That hit. I saw it. Not guilt, not really, more like discomfort, like someone had turned on a light they didn't want. My mother reached out slightly. Please, we were trying to... No, I cut in. You were enjoying it. That one landed deeper than anything else, because it was true. She started crying harder, but this time, it didn't move me at all. Not even a little. You want forgiveness? I said quietly. You want me to show up now after everything and make you feel better before it's too late? I shook my head. That's not love. That's convenience. My father's voice got sharper. You don't understand what we've been through. I stepped closer. No, I said. You don't understand what you did. And for the first time, he went quiet. I took a breath. Slow, controlled. I spent years thinking something was wrong with me, I said, because that's what you do to a kid when you treat them like a joke. I learned to be small, quiet, careful, invisible. I looked at both of them, and then someone else showed me what real love actually looks like. That part changed everything in the room, because it wasn't about them anymore. It was about what they weren't. You don't get access to me now, I continued, not because I hate you, but because I finally learned how to protect myself. My mother whispered, "We're your parents," and I felt that word, parents. It used to mean everything. Now, it meant nothing. Mark and Laura are my parents, I said. They showed up, they stayed, they didn't test me. I paused. You taught me fear. They taught me safety. That was it. That was the line. The room felt different after that, like something had ended, even if nobody said it out loud. My father looked at me, really looked at me, for the first time in my life. Is this it? He asked, and there was something in his voice, not power, not control, just emptiness. I nodded. This has been it for a long time, I said. You're just catching up. I turned toward the door, and for a split second, I thought about that 12-year-old girl again, standing in that station, alone, scared, waiting, and I realized something. She didn't need them to come back. She just needed to survive long enough to walk away. So I did. I walked out of that hospital room, down the hallway, past the waiting area, out into the parking lot, and when the air hit my face, I exhaled, like I had been holding that breath for 20 years. On the flight back to Denver, I didn't feel broken. I didn't feel angry. I didn't even feel sad. I felt freed. Because here's the truth nobody tells you. Closure isn't about fixing the past. It's about finally seeing it clearly enough that it can't control you anymore. I didn't go back to save them. I went back to choose myself. And if you've ever been that person, the one who held everything together, the one who stayed quiet, the one who survived things nobody should have to survive, then hear this. Walking away doesn't make you weak. It means you finally learned your worth. Some people will only call you family when they need something. That doesn't make them yours. Real love, it doesn't test you. It doesn't humiliate you. It doesn't bet against you. Real love shows up, and stays. And once you find that, you don't go back. Not ever.